The Battle of Hyrba was the first battle between the Persians and Medians. It was also the first battle after the Persians had revolted. These actions were led by Cyrus the Great, as it shifted the powers of the ancient Middle East. The success of the battle led to the creation of Persia's first empire, and began Cyrus's decade-long conquest of almost all of the known world. Though the only authority with a detailed account of the battle was Nicolaus of Damascus, other well-known historians as Herodotus, Ctesias, and Strabo also mention the battle in their own accounts. The outcome of the battle was such a great blow to Medes, that Astyages decided to personally invade Persia. The hasty invasion would eventually lead to his downfall. In turn, the former enemies of the Medes tried to move against him, only to be stopped by Cyrus. Thus a period of reconciliation began, which facilitated a close relationship between the Persians and Medes, and enabled Ecbatana, capital of Media, to pass to the Persians as one of Persia's capitals in their newly formed empire. Background: the battle occurred after the Persian revolt, which is known to have taken place somewhere in the summer of 553 BC. Based on scant sources, the battle is believed to have taken place at least half a year after the revolt had already begun. Probably in the beginning of winter 552 BC, Astyages, the king of Medes, who was thought to have also been Cyrus's grandfather, had earlier turned down the request of Cyrus to leave his court and visit his parents again, as he had done several times earlier. Though his request to Astyages was not unusual, Cyrus had made the mistake of asking him right after the revolt that had happened. But through the pleading of the Persian servant, Ebes, Astyages let him visit his parents again. In Herodotus' version, in one of the first times Cyrus had gone to his parents, the Median general Harpagus had secretly sent a letter stuffed in a hair to Cyrus to plot a revolt, which Cyrus passed the letter on to his father. This matches the account of Nicolaus in which he says that Cambyses I had already assembled many troops well before the battle had started, and that he later dispatched a small number to Cyrus's aid. Cyrus sent a message to his father saying, "Send at once 1,000 cavalry and 5,000 foot soldiers to the city of Hyrba which lay on the way, and to arm the rest of the Persians as quickly as possible in such a way that it should seem to be done by command of the king." His true aims he did not communicate to him. This also confirms the notion that the battle took place months, not days, after the revolt. Astyages' decision to let Cyrus return to his parents is considered by some to have changed history by eventually enabling the Persis province to become the most powerful state in the ancient world. The motives: Cyrus was in Ecbatana when the revolt had already begun. In Nicolaus's account, when Cyrus was let go, he fled from Astyages because he knew he might eventually be executed if Astyages discovered what Cyrus's true motives were, which was to join and fight alongside his father, if necessary. This is because when Cyrus was halfway to becoming an adult he learned that Astyages had already tried to execute him when he was an infant. But it did not succeed, and as time passed, Astyages came to respect Cyrus for the similarities of character, which they both shared. Meanwhile, Astyages was not sure if it was safe to let Cyrus return to his homeland. Astyages eventually did, and it helped terminate the Median kingdom. When Astyages was tricked by Harpagus twice into believing Cyrus was not of danger to him, even when the revolt and impending signs of danger had already happened, that is when Cyrus knew of how easily Astyages can be swindled. For this reason, Cyrus may have taken advantage of this to bring freedom to his own kingdom. Meanwhile, Astyages invited the best singer of the Medes, and the last song played by the professional minstrel that was also a magus, named Angares, which was also accompanied by a girl, disturbed Astyages deeply. A fierce wild beast, more fierce than any boar, was let go, and sent into a sunny country, and he should reign over all these provinces and should, with a handful of men, maintain war against large armies. Astyages tried to call Cyrus back again, but could not get to him. The battle Concerning the troops' types, it is unknown whether or not the Persian infantry engaged in the battle. Cyrus might have known he needed all his men when fighting Astyages' best cavalry, for when battle had started, Cyrus with his woolen superior numbers had the advantage, which Nicholas goes as far as to say Cyrus first displayed his bravery in this battle. Nevertheless, Cyrus's tactics proved successful in maintaining the war. In Herodotus' other histories, he hints the first battle between the Persians and Medes, which Harpagus goes over to Cyrus, and most of the Medes either joined Cyrus or were killed, with a small force escaping back to Media. This seems to go in accordance with Nicolaus' account of the first battle. Aftermath. While Cambyses met with his son and organized the 350,000-plus men, Astyages armed men under an overage for fighting battles, and from all over the empire, to come, and with 1,205,000-plus men, Astyages marched his troops out. Most historians consider this number fantastic, but others consider it as part of the reserves. This is because in the battles to come, no more than 200,000 men from either side would actually take to the field. When Astyages knew he had underestimated Cyrus, he knew putting down a revolt was not enough, but a massive invasion had to be carried out. So the invasion of Persia by Astyages had begun. Historical assessment. The battle was the first major blow to the Medes, as this was the first time in a long time that Media had been defeated in a battle. As Cyrus's first Persian victory in the war, it did not go well with Astyages, the king of the Medes. It also caused the northern satraps to revolt, and ally their provinces with Persia. Years after the war, the Persians and Medes still held a deep appreciation of one another, which some Medes were allowed to become part of the Persian immortals. Since the early 1900s, this battle was almost forgotten to history, as most of its account comes from fragments. Only in the later modern age historians have renewed interest in this historic event which changed the ancient world. Bibliography. Classical sources: the Nabonidus Chronicle of the Babylonian Chronicles, Herodotus I, 127-128, Ctec as Justin, Epitome of the Philippic History of Pompeius Trogus I, 6, Fragments of Nicolaus of Damascus, Strabo 15, 3.8, Athenaeus 1.146-419. Modern sources: Rawlinson, George. The Seven Great Monarchies of the Eastern World, New York, John B. Eldon Press, reprint p. 120-121, in 4 volumes. ISBN 978-1-4286-4792-3. Fisher, W. B., Ilya Gershvich, and S. Anyashster. The Cambridge History of Iran. Cambridge University Press p. 145. In 1 volume. ISBN 0-521-20091-1. Stearns, Peter N., Unlanger, William L. The Encyclopedia of World History. Ancient, Medieval, and Modern, chronologically arranged. Boston, Houghton Mifflin Press. 40. In 6 editions. ISBN 0-395-65237-5.